Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. You are live for the daily drop in, and we are so glad you're here. It is Friday, October 29th. Brad Hughes and I are always your Friday co hosts, and we're really excited to be here to kind of recap the week, get into some fun discussion. We have some holidays, some good news articles. My voice is relatively back, so there's a lot to celebrate today. We are also going to play a very special clip for all of you that we have been featuring since Wednesday when the Teach Better team made their big conference announcement. So in case you missed it, you'll want to pay attention to this. Go fill up your coffee, and we'll be right back. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday to all of our friends joining us live, or even if you're watching this after the fact for Daily Drop-In. Brad, how are you, friend? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and I'm doing well. And I think the moral of that video, in addition to the incredible things happening for Teach Better 22, is that Canadians simply can't open envelopes.
I thought that was the best way to start that video, was with you opening the top secret envelope. When I saw that video, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how we're opening the whole announcement. So funny.
So great. Now it's been a busy week. It's been a great week of coming together on kids' behalf, and looking forward to hopefully a restful weekend to recharge some batteries and reconnect with the people and the things that I love. And how about you? I know that you're on the road to feeling better and better, and you're doing great.
Yeah, no, I feel like Adam. Adam in the comments says, good morning, Rae and Brad, counting down the days until I get to see you both. I kind of felt the same way. I'm not only excited for the conference, but Brad, I was counting down the days until you and I were live together on Friday.
Oh,
This is like my time where you and I get to hang out and talk shop, and then I get to start the week with Jeff. It's kind of nice with this daily drop-in, pattern we have going here. But no, I feel great. Just my voice has been gone. So I feel like I woke up this morning. I don't know that it's 100% back, but I feel confident it's headed in the right direction. So from what I understand, the 403rd glass of tea that I've been drinking, it might be helping. I don't know.
Yeah, 402 just won't do it. I mean, studies show that 403 and beyond is really the way to go.
Well, I appreciate that data, but I wish you told me that like Wednesday, because I was chugging it, but I could have chugged more tea if I knew that was the goal.
I think we just may have discovered that data on the spot, Rae.
Happy to help anybody else who loses their voice for absolutely zero reason as we continue throughout the week. Everybody I've talked to has been like brainstorming with me, like, oh, are you ill? I obviously got COVID tested to confirm that wasn't a concern, and everything in between. I'm like, guys, I just think my body is reminiscing, because we're talking about Teach Better Conference 2019, and I lost my voice immediately that weekend. So I just think my whole body is just reliving the experience.
I'm glad that you're feeling better. And I know our voices are what people pick up on first. And if there's something wrong with your voice, something not quite right, people are sort of immediately thinking and fearing the worst. And if you're not well, it takes up a lot of energy to both, try to get yourself well, but also reassure people, no, I'm fine. I just have a squeaky voice.
I did find it funny because, Jeff Gargas, who's I make fun of him a lot, but he's been checking on me a lot this week. And he was like, what hurts? I'm like, nothing. I'm just tired because it takes a lot of breath to make sound come out. I'm not actually feeling ill, but you're pushing more air out to try and get more sound, right?
What we need is some technology, Ray, where auto-generated captions appear in front of you based on what you're thinking.
I would love that. Can you work on that? I feel like that's a good Google project. Google, somebody in Google is going to figure that out.
Somebody probably closer than we think has the answer on that and is probably underway with it right now. Maybe even in one of our classrooms, Ray.
Oh, that would be amazing in the classroom. So many options. Oh, Brad, how's your week? But I know you've had a busy week, and I don't mean to call you out, but you sent me a picture yesterday that made me very, very concerned for you. And truly, I'm glad you're here this morning with me because I wanted to do a wellness check on you. So this is me confirming you're alive. You'll look good, buddy. But that picture made me nervous. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely, Ray. I was able to share with you that I had 19 unread emails in my inbox. And we had a conversation, I think, 2 weeks back where we were talking about the number of unread emails that each of us had. I think I reported 3, but I wanted to send that picture along to reassure you that, yeah, life happens. Email piles up. And actually, I'm going to just find the silver lining there. It also meant that I was digging into situations and supports at school that demanded full attention. And it was okay to leave those in those boxes because the attention was where it needed to be at that time.
You are spot on. I love your positive outlook. But 19 made me very nervous. And I hope that you can find some time to get that in a little bit more of a comfortable number for yourself. Because I know that that's a little bit of weight that you were carrying on your shoulders yesterday. But I'm hoping that we're headed in the right direction. I will kind of say, Brad, I mean, it's Friday of Halloween week. So everyone's a little bit more tired. There's always a few spooky and wacky things that happen this week that are out of our control. If the worst thing that happens is that you have 9 terrible, that's all I'm saying.
Something that some administrators and mentors reminded me as I was exploring school leadership was that really important things, if you miss something really important, someone who cares about you will remind you and get you back on track. It's really challenging to kind of distinguish between what is truly essential and important when stress is high and everything feels essential and important, especially, as colleagues, when we take on the stress of other people may have different levels of stress and urgency about matters that, when we take a step back and reframe may not be as urgent as they appear, but it's relieving the stress around those issues that people are craving. And so you just got to take it one step at a time.
Brad, I know we've been in the same mastermind because we both are very active, or at least I get to sit in and you're very active in the administrator mastermind that we have for the Teach Better team on Tuesdays. And I don't know if you had signed in yet or if maybe you showed up after, but we had somebody in our admin mastermind talking about, this was a principal, this was a leader in the building. And he was like, I'm short on subs and teachers. He's like, I've been teaching for the last 3 weeks. And the only time I'm able to be a principal, the only time I'm able to quote unquote do official leadership business is before school or after school. And at the time we were like, oh my God, how does that work? There's no way. The principal's constantly buzzing around doing so many important things. And he kind of sat back and he was like, yes, it's extremely hard, but I have an agreement with my staff that if they needed something, if it was essential that I was there, they'd come hunt me down. And that's kind of what you're saying is trying to prioritize what work is actually life or death, what work is actually needing your attention. I like that perspective of if it was an immediate need, someone would ensure they get a hold of me. And so everything else I can kind of, at least to a certain extent, pause and come back to later. So.
And I think what was really perceptive and really wise of that school leader was to set that expectation ahead of time. So even setting that expectation can help people head off an unusual high amount of stress, knowing that, okay, I know that something serious goes down. I know where to find the principal. I know where to find my colleague in need. And so I think that the uncertainty can simply add to the stress and the worry and the anxiety and even the panic. So I think it was really wise to just set, hey, If you need something, I'm here.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great tip. Brad, we have some holidays to celebrate, some good news, and then obviously we have to dive into the topics this week because there's been a whole lot. We had some new friends join us this week that we can highlight.
Yes,
So, are you ready for some good news?
I'm so ready.
I really can't say that without being good news with Brad Hughes. Every
Right.
time, even when you're not here, I think it the whole time. All right,
Oh,
we'll be right back. All right, Brad, this is the debate. Do we do good news story and then holidays, or holidays and then good news stories?
I'm thinking holidays and good news story.
All right, here's the deal. I have some complaints with our holidays, but I'm always up to celebrate a holiday. So I'm not negating that we should celebrate these. But here's the deal. On Wednesday, it was National Black Cat Day. But today is just National Cat Day. So does that mean that there's a National Orange Cat Day and a National Speckled Cat Day? I'm asking for a friend. I have to know.
Yeah, I think any day is a perfect one to celebrate cats. And I could tell you a tale about all of the different kind of cats that that need to be celebrated. But Rae, I think all of us that are cat lovers could designate any day to to recognize our calicos or our tabbies or our Siamese or even our Manx. Talk about a cat without a tail.
Okay, I didn't expect that, but you win. You win. That was good. Okay, it's also National Internet Day. I don't know what that means.
Oh.
National Bandana Day. That's cool. Love
Mhm.
that. It's Frankenstein Friday, which makes sense. Friday before Halloween. I'm a fan. Maybe most important holiday on here, friend to friend, Brad.
Yeah.
Maybe the most important one. It's World Breadstick Day. How do you feel about a good breadstick?
I I feel great about a good breadstick. So the debate for me, Rae, and I'll ask you is soft breadstick or crisp breadstick?
Oh, okay. I like a crispy breadstick if it's sliced up
Yep.
or if it's really tiny. But if it's going to be like a big loaf breadstick, which is
Hmm.
kind of what it looks like in this photo,
Hmm.
then soft with a ton of garlic and butter.
That's my jam too. I like the fresh baked ones that come, and if you're eating out, they come hot to your table, and then you realize you've eaten way too many before your entree comes, and it's like, why did I do that?
Yeah. But the more butter, the more garlic, the more
Hmm.
salt, the better in my mind, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Very important if we want to have good breakfast eaters. Brad, do you eat breakfast in the morning? I feel like I don't know a single teacher that eats breakfast in the morning.
I do. Yep. I
Yeah.
usually have an English muffin with a cup of coffee.
Ooh, that's a good breakfast. This is National Oatmeal Day, and I
Hmm.
do enjoy a bowl of oatmeal. I don't eat oatmeal enough, but I probably should. I really enjoy it. Fills you up. I think that's good.
Yeah, there's a grain of truth there, and I think that oatmeal is something that I enjoy just sort of every once in a while. It doesn't really bowl me over, but it's okay.
Additionally, there's some medical holidays that we can acknowledge, or at least holidays related to the medical field. National Pharmacy Day, World Asperosis Day, and then World Stroke Day. So some important moments of reflection, making sure we're healthy, checking on those that we care about, and being aware of our bodies so we can stay as healthy
Hmm.
as possible. So from
Absolutely.
all holidays, Brad, I have a feeling that you're either going to go more like cat holiday or breadstick holiday.
I think
But
so.
I have a feeling with people in the comments, Frankenstein Friday might be the day that they really celebrate today.
As long as you and I can keep things animated or reanimated, Rae, and keep people's interest in the daily drop in, we're ready to celebrate just about anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What good news stories do you have for us today?
I've got a really cool news story out of Michigan, and I chose this one because of approaching Halloween, but also we've been focusing this week on sort of meeting the needs of every learner in front of us. And a high school in Michigan has a fantastic way to engage students' creativity and personality by allowing them to dress in costume for their senior year student card picture. And the class of 2022 at North Farmington High School in Michigan were allowed and encouraged to dress up in costumes for their school ID pictures. The page I'm looking at right now from goodnewsnetwork.org has a student dressed like the heroine of the series Queen's Gambit, with her hands folded over top of the chessboard. And the class of 2022 tweeted the photos of their new IDs alongside the characters that inspired them, like Ace Ventura, Wayne and Garth, the girl from Finding Nemo who's tapping on the glass and wanting to get Nemo out of the aquarium. And it can't be Halloween or a student picture without the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I'll put that link in the comment, and then my encouragement is to think about how in your classrooms you might leverage this really cool opportunity to invite student creativity and personalization of learning using student photos or graphics or any kind like that. And maybe this is something that other middle schools or high schools would like to take on as well, as a special recognition of their senior class.
I love the creativity with that. And I love the reflection, the laughter, the discussion you can have about that. I think there's so many different elements, even if you decided to make it more specific, where they had to identify somebody, a character that they had a specific relationship or inspiration that was based from. There's so many good things that you could do with that. That's amazing. I will say at the school that I worked at previously, the one with Katie and Sarah and Nikki, who are all members of the Teach Better family, Sarah Jesse, who on the Teach Better team, friends, if you have not connected with her, she's amazing. She does a lot of our graphics for our blog department, and she always dresses up for her teacher photo. And it is well known that when photo day comes out, everybody gets their photos in those beautiful little packages that you want to go find Miss Sarah Jesse to go see what her costume was, because she hides from the school, and that's a big deal.
Oh. The power of surprise is a real gift, and especially if maybe the rest of the school population here at the Michigan High School, whether it's traditional and something that's highly anticipated, keeping the lid on big news. I know that's something, Rae, that you truly specialize in.
No, I'm terrible at it, and you're calling me out. Did you hear me release that it was in Ohio, the conference in Ohio on Monday?
I did not. No, or I might have selectively kind of just muted that.
I legitimately, and I can say this now because we released the details Wednesday, but on Monday, I was live with Jeff in the morning after a wonderful weekend, and he said something like, oh, we were together, and he said something, and then my response was, well, yeah, Jeff, we were in Ohio together. And then I was like, oh no, I ruined it. Yeah, it was terrible.
Rae, there's a lot of space in Ohio. It could have been in Canton or Cleveland or Akron or it could have been anywhere.
Thank goodness we released the details Wednesday. So I have some time to get those secrets out, more secrets to come with our speakers and everybody else. But I needed to get at least the date, location, and early bird registration off my chest. For sure.
Some of our ambassadors were able to confirm for me a little bit of a geography tidbit that Ohio is indeed high in the middle and round on both ends. And so I was happy to have that confirmed. I can't really pick up on how that works on Google Maps, but I'm sure when I'm there in person, I'll see it for myself.
Brad, I'm going to get a little map for you so you can figure out how to drive to Akron, Ohio. Because if you get a boat, I think it's faster.
I think it's faster too. Yeah, there's a big blue lake between me and Southern Ontario and Akron, Ohio. So I've checked my Google map, and it's a little under 6 hours drive, whether I come through Windsor, Detroit, Michigan, or whether I come through Buffalo and then Erie, Pennsylvania. But I will be there, and I might be tired when I get there, but I'll be there.
Oh, so exciting. I can't wait. All right, let's get into our discussion for the week for Brainstorm Baked. Does that sound good?
Sounds awesome.
Okay. All right, friends, I need my voice back. All right, you guys know how our Brainstorm Bank works. This is an intentional time where we pause on this beautiful Friday morning and we say, hey, do you need anything? This can be anything brainstorming student needs, classroom needs, instructional questions. Maybe you just want to know something cool about Brad Hughes, which is really what my questions are. So we are here for you. We also have a theme every single week. And this theme was all about reaching our learners. We had incredible guests on this week to talk about it. And Brad, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this theme this week.
I really enjoyed meeting new people, new faces to the Teach Better family, and new voices that I wanted to hear more about. But I think that it's our passion as Teach Better team members to get to know our students so well that we're able to leverage their strengths and their interests as well as their needs to bring learning to life for them. And this is what I heard your guests explaining or extolling all week long, Rae, was that yes, it can be it can be connection before curriculum, it can be relationships before rigor, but you can also weave relationships into the learning, and you can grow relationships through the content and the opportunities that we as educators choose.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that about this week because it was kind of a general topic and we were able
Mhm.
to invite so many different perspectives in. There were a lot of different approaches to how you can reach your learners. And we can preview what those discussions were in a little bit, but a lot of it focused around knowing who was in the room, knowing who you were trying to reach, and then really trying to take the time to personalize what they needed.
Mhm.
And it wasn't necessarily a week focused on mastery learning. It wasn't necessarily a week focused on one specific way to reach your learners, but really a holistic approach to making sure that your environment was welcoming and that you could do little things to take steps to understand what your students' needs were.
As students are returning to our schools from maybe interrupted or suspended learning because of the pandemic, that process is going to take a lot longer than we may anticipate or we may have experienced in the past. I just encourage our tired, hardworking educators to keep investing in those relationships and keep giving yourself permission for to for the time that's going to be needed to get to know your learners and their needs, because the needs could be significant and the needs could be significantly different than you've anticipated or that sort of you're used to if you're used to addressing. If you're, say, a third grade teacher or a ninth grade teacher, the students in front of us may have significantly different needs than what we're used to addressing, and that requires great creativity. It also requires a lot of humility and reinvention, and unfortunately, time and energy needed to sort of reinvent who we are as teachers and what we do is pretty scarce right now. So let's just continue to be kind to ourselves and continue to invest in finding out who our kids are and what they need. And we will find ways to weave the content to meet their needs.
Brad, your challenging week that you had this week, really taking you away from obviously cleaning out your inbox and everything else. Do you think there was a common theme or suggestion that as you went through kind of like hurdle after hurdle, and I don't specifically know all the pieces that you were struggling with this week, that would have been helpful? Like a strategy that you utilized, a strategy maybe after reflecting that you feel like you could have utilized, or maybe people that were involved in the circumstance with you could have benefited from a little bit of information, tidbit of suggestion. Any thoughts
Yeah,
there?
a couple of things, Ray. One is just reinforcing the power of team, the power of smart, caring people around you, and the power of conversation to seek different perspectives for challenging situations. And as school leaders or as teachers, we often find ourselves, and I find myself in a situation where there are so many loose ends that you feel stressed and worried that nothing is getting done, nothing's getting accomplished. And so it was one of your guests. I think it was your Wednesday guest
Yeah.
who, yeah,
Mhm.
who reminded us about the importance of standing in the gap. Does that ring a
Mhm.
bell? Was that our
Yes.
Wednesday? Okay, and
Yeah.
right, and so that was huge for me when I heard that advice, and that was a huge and important reframe, standing in the gap. So as as I'm struggling with all of these loose ends and balls in the air and drop balls and wondering how are these things going to ever get done, we're not making any progress. I was reminded that you know it feels like we need to be fixers and solvers, but what we really are people that stand in the gap, and we're people that accompany others from one situation to a slightly better situation. And I kind of brought to mind the image of a bridge between two islands. So we're on island one right now, and things are swirling. But with the power of collaboration and a reassurance that we are there to guide people to the next 1% better, not necessarily like, because we're looking for huge leaps right now, and we may only be able to take small steps. So that was really important for me, and that advice came at a crucial time for me as I was supporting staff and students through a number of things at school, just reminding that nothing may be fixed or solved, but we can accompany each other to the next best step and then just repeat.
It's so interesting as we reflect on that concept. Like, we say it all the time. I want to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday and a little bit better tomorrow than I was today. That teach better mindset. But sometimes that little bit better today is like 0.001%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not. Sometimes we digress and we're not a little bit better, and that's okay. But other days it's 2%, and other days it's 30%, which is like, whoo, could you imagine being a little bit better in that regard? But I think sometimes we're so hard on ourselves as we struggle with stress or anxiety and hurdles to say, oh, today wasn't a good day. But if you reflect back, like, you're a little bit smarter, you're a little bit more prepared for tomorrow, you're a little bit more aware of a situation that you can persevere through. Even if you're at that 0.001%, it's still progress, right? It's still progress.
It sure is, and reframing is hard to do when you're in the middle of things because you're stuck and you want some relief, and you want some release from the stress or anxiety of these challenging situations. A helpful reframe that I've seen, but I'm not consistently applying, but I'm working on it, is rather than asking why is this happening to me, the question that we want to reframe is, what is this teaching me? And sometimes we can be aware of what it's teaching us in the moment, and that's great. Sometimes we're only aware of what it's taught us after the fact. And that's why I want to start building in some reflection, maybe some journaling or just, typing into a doc, you know, how were things 1% better today? What was just a little bit better? And that, I think for me, that'll provide some reassurance. And it also gives me some talking points with my staff members and even parents who are hungry for things to be better now, like not be better, not just better now, but be solved now. When stressful things come up, we parents too, caregivers too, want relief from that stress. Their kid is upset, their kid is hurting, their kid is confused. They want that to change because accompanying an upset child through that is really stressful. And so both as parents and educators, we want that stress to stop now. We just need to reassure everyone that we're going to take our time and be deliberate about taking the next best step. And sometimes things just take time, which is difficult to reconcile, but they do. They just take time, and reminding us of what are we learning about this on the way?
That reflection of what is this teaching me is so interesting. I feel like you just sparked a nerve, like at my core, because there's so much reflection that we do before a situation happens. How do I get prepared for this?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much reflection I truly believe teachers do after the fact. How could I have done that better? But what you're asking is in the middle, when you're in the heat of it, when you're in the mix of it, whether you're drowning or you're excelling, what is this teaching me right now is a really in the moment, in the weeds question that I truly believe can allow you to get to the end of it even more quickly, right?
And I just want to name that this is not something that I'm able to access in the moment yet, but it's because when we're focused on problem solving or when we're focused on accompanying kids or even adults in crisis or critical situations, all of your attention and energy is devoted to what needs to happen now. And sometimes it's after the fact, and sometimes it's through conversation or some debriefing or some collaboration that learning can occur. And all of us work in learning organizations, Rae. We're part of schools, and so as educators, we are constantly challenging ourselves not to be the knowers or transmitters of information, but to be learners along with our students. And that includes along with our colleagues and faculty members too. So what is this teaching me, or what are we learning from this is a really important reframe for both school leaders and school teams to come together around, maybe in a morning scrum. Rae, what did yesterday teach us, guys, and how are we going to incorporate that into our day ahead?
Brad, as an additional layer of this, what is it teaching you in terms of maybe student information? Like, what do I now know about the student? What can I now utilize to better reach the student? But also internally, what is this teaching me now, like about myself, about my control over my emotions, about what I value, about what I care about versus what I may not care about. I think that internal reflection of not only looking at what information am I gathering to be more successful in my profession of reaching children, but then also internally, oh, this upset me. I don't know why this upset me. What might that mean for me, and how can I then leverage being more self-aware to be more successful moving forward in a different situation, or even currently when I handle this situation tomorrow? It's a really interesting question.
Incredibly important questions, and
Mhm.
the question that really just sort of rung true for me that you were saying there is, why might I be feeling that way?
Mm.
And so often when we encounter strong emotions, we want to push them aside, or we want to be self-critical and say, I shouldn't be feeling that way about this person or about this situation. That if you can access that question, Ray, why might I be feeling that way? And if you can take a little bit of space and detachment and sort of address the why of the feeling, not necessarily the feeling, because we're so wrapped up and so intimately tied with our feelings, but that's all they are. They are feelings. They are expressions of energy. I recently read an educator, I think it was Lindsay Titus, saying that a recognition that emotion is energy in motion. So this
Mm.
energy is present. Why might that be? And it doesn't have to be answered right then, but if you make a note of it or come back to it, it really helps to peel back the layers of our own experience. And I want to mention a wonderful author and coach named Elena Aguilar. And Elena wrote her most recent book is Coaching for Equity.
Mm.
And as coaches and leaders, uh, Elena really promotes that awareness of our own emotions as we accompany others through strong emotions. So if we're accompanying others through a journey to more and more equitable practices, that might include addressing, deep-seated worries or fears or attitudes about um, anti-racism, anti-discrimination. Being aware of our own emotions as we're coaching is crucial. And just like you said, I think, Ray, you really echoed what you find in Elena's approaches. Why might I be feeling this way, and what might that mean for me as a coach, leader, or mentor?
Oh, so important. Really good reflection. Brad, it'd be really great, I think, if we reflected on the week and
Yeah,
went through kind of what next week's going to look like with a different theme and a different focus with obviously different guests.
sounds amazing.
All right. So this is our favorite part, Brad.
It
This
sure
is
is.
this is the commercial. It's coming. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm going to be jamming in the back.
All right. Here we go, friends. Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Daily Drop In. We are 32 minutes in, talking shop, having our own reflection. But as you guys know, we love spending our mornings with you. We love being able to reflect on our weeks with you. And obviously, Fridays are something special. We always love to recap the week and kind of preview what's in our future, as we kind of have gotten in the habit, right or wrong, of saying on the show is like, today's going to be the best day that you've had yet. And in my mind, like, let's speak that into existence. So it's Friday, it's October 29th. It's probably going to be a little wacky at school today, let's be honest. It's the Friday of Halloween. There's no denying it, but guess what? It's going to be the best Friday that you've had yet. Maybe simply because it's going to be a little bit spookier, and maybe we can just embrace it. So, Brad, we have a lot to recap this week. We had some really, really beautiful conversations, but we also had some new faces. And
Mm-hmm.
as you know, we love welcoming new faces, right? Anytime we can add new members of the family. Were all these people new friends for you, or were you aware of some of them?
They were all, except for the inimitable Jeff Gargas on Monday. I may be familiar with Jeff, but Jeff is always, for me, such a welcome presence on the Monday drop in. Well, he's a welcome presence no matter if we're face to face online or in wherever we meet up. Jeff makes me better and helps me feel better about contributing to the team. So even though he's a familiar face, he's a very welcome one.
Yes, I do. I do like to say nice things about Jeff when he's not around.
Sure.
And I don't think he's in the comments watching today. So I will say I really like starting my week with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like being able to start the week, kind of goofing off with Jeff, previewing what's going on for the week. He always has something cool to share. His lens, his perspective is always so interesting to me. And then I like, again, I really like the starting with Jeff, ending the week hanging out with you, and then being able to bring in some new family, some new friends in between, in the middle, to foster that good discussion.
For sure.
So it's been a good habit so far. What are we in,
Yeah.
like week 11? I think we said that, week 11.
That's right.
Yeah, really good. So this week there was a lot to share, and I really encourage you, if you didn't catch every moment of the Daily Drop-In, you can always go listen back over on Teach Better Talk podcast, or you can catch all the episodes on our YouTube channel. There's like a specific playlist that has them all sectioned out for you, so you don't have to go hunting. Just go make sure you subscribe to the Teach Better Team's YouTube channel that's over there. Obviously, you can get notifications when we're live and everything like that, but I really find that that's like an easy spot that houses all the videos. The conversations this week really have ebbed and flowed, but there's some really, really great takeaways. On Monday, we started with some reflection on being able to reach all your learners means that you need to know what your learners need. You need to kind of collect that data. And so we kind of brainstormed a few ways to do that. Then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we got into different perspectives of things that different educators that were welcomed onto the show really felt very passionately about. And they all had different passions, which I thought was so beautiful as we reflect on kind of building that perfect deli sandwich of what we need in our classrooms, what type of supports and layering we can have so we can ensure that we're reaching all of our learners. Did you have a day that stuck out specifically? I know you kind of referenced Wednesday, which was like so good. But did you have other days that really stuck with you?
Well, I just wanted to come back to Wednesday for a moment because the conversation was around creativity and activating,
Yes.
creative opportunities. And
with, by the way, Janine Letford, who is
thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, with Janine and I've got a background in visual arts. I was a visual arts teacher before I shifted to school leadership, and so activating creativity for me has always been a passion. It's a passion that I embody and that I benefit from. But some of my most amazing moments were nurturing the creativity and expression in my visual arts classroom. And as Janine mentioned, sometimes the arts allow us to get to know kids in ways that are both unexpected and that they may we may not have access to without those creative arts. The other thing that really reminded me is some of the writing of author Rob Bell, who reminds us that every act is a creative act. I think that there can be a lot of highfalutin language and attitudes about what it takes to be creative. I'm not creative. I'm not an artist. Whatever it is, like anytime that you are thinking about and bringing something new into the world, whether it's a new approach, a new lesson, a new conversation, a new product, a new angle, like a new perspective, anything that you bring new into the world, or any way that you make even a 1% improvement to something already in the world, that is a creative act. Our lives are all about creation. And so, I mean, for me, and I hope that everyone feels like really inspired, empowered, and you can embody the creativity. It's not necessarily about painting a pretty picture or creating a work of art or a sculpture. It's about how you're interacting in the world to bring new things forward that makes life better for you and for others. Creativity is accessible to all of us.
Yeah, that was such a fascinating conversation. And Brad, I love your highlight of this important topic of creativity. Something I found really fascinating about Wednesday, and I really mean this in a way that doesn't make me sound like a goof. So please like work with me on this. But typically when I have conversations about art, it's a little, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this live on camera. It's a little fluffy, right? That is like what it is. And she was so like research data supported, and like, oh my gosh, the work that she has done to prove that creativity is essential to be incorporated into all elements of the classroom. I literally could have listened to her all day because she had so much knowledge. And I feel like we just skimmed the surface of what she had to share.
What a tremendous and impactful message we can bring forward to our young people, that we can challenge their thinking, and whether it's through a visual arts lesson or creative writing, that you have to be something special to be creative, and how empowering we can be for our learners to provide them with opportunities to share their gifts and share their voices in ways that are open-ended, where each thing doesn't look like the exact same thing on the desk next to them, and just reminding our learners that creativity belongs to everybody.
So good. Yeah, if you guys did not catch all the dialogue, please go back and check those out. Truly incredible new faces. If nothing else, even if you don't have time and you're like, oh, I'll go back next week and I'll go listen, at least go connect with them on social media.
Mhm.
These are all people that are kind of like in the trenches doing the work. They have really specific passions that they're trying to bring to their communities and a much larger, wide audience. And they're all just constantly sharing. And I think that that beauty of being just a learner, wanting to share and wanting to be supportive is amazing. So definitely go connect with all three of those incredible guests, including obviously Jeff. Go connect with Jeff and Brad too. That's fine.
That's fine.
Be good. Next week is going to be interesting. I'm a little nervous for this theme, Brad, but knowing you, you're going to like make it perfect and sound like the best week of our lives. So here we go. The theme for next week is your last 5 minutes. Like that's what the theme is. It says your last 5 minutes. And so as you're thinking about your last 5 minutes of the classroom, how do you use it? How do you spend it? What do you do with it? That's going to be a really interesting topic, and it feels very specific. I don't know how I feel about that.
I thought for a moment that maybe you had enough of me as a Friday co-host, and looking up at the clock. This is my last 5 minutes. Maybe you're finding a gentle way to cut me loose, but I think the last 5 minutes of our classes, sometimes we might see them with relief, and we want nothing more than for them to end, so that we can get on to something else. But it sounds like we're looking at making those 5 minutes intentional for yourself and for your learners, and setting them up for success. And I think maybe in a middle school or high school setting too, that if we realize that they're going on to another classroom and another teacher in a Rotary setting, those last 5 minutes can be crucial to set your colleague up for success too when the students arrive.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting discussion about how you can make those last 5 minutes as valuable as possible. All of you know we love talking theory, we love talking philosophy, but I love getting those like tactical, strategic takeaways. And I think next week's going to be full of them. We have a lot of guests joining us. And to be honest, looking at this lineup, they might still be new faces to our community. That's kind of the beauty of Daily Drop-In, is we're not only able to welcome in familiar faces, but also celebrate the educators we have yet to connect with. So somebody I'm very excited about, I messaged them, I want to say like 2 weeks ago, and I can't believe they signed up this quick, but Mickey Hernandez is joining us on Tuesday. Obviously, Jeff will be on Monday. Sorry to skip over that. We have Damien that's joining us on Wednesday, and then Thursday is Jennifer Ogar. So we are going to have 3 new faces of the Teach Better family joining us next week to continue to foster that discussion. And I cannot wait to learn about their thoughts of utilizing that last 5 minutes as intentionally as possible. These are all educators that our Teach Better family has connected with slowly virtually, whether it be on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. It's just kind of exciting to be able to welcome on a new educator and get to know their story to a certain extent and hear their insight. So next week's going to be really powerful.
I'm really curious, Rae, about what goes on behind the scenes to, I guess, attract or entice these incredible guests to Daily Drop-In. Is it sort of a combination of guests reaching out to you or other team members? Is it a matter of sort of research behind the scenes and keeping it ear to the ground? How does that work?
Yeah, our team is really, obviously we do a lot of stuff to maintain the constant publishing of blogs and podcasts and the mastermind facilitators and everything else. Our team really values the work we're doing. But, Brad, a core value of our team is to continue to reach and bring in other perspectives. I constantly am connecting with people, and my line to them is, will you come share your insight with our community? A really important element is not only to foster our community, our family internally, which obviously we try and do as much as possible, but also bring in new perspectives. We really want to question and challenge our thinking constantly. And the best way to do that is to connect with more people, hear more stories, hear more research and insight, and then determine our opinions. And so I've been so fortunate, obviously, with the Teach Better family to work with everybody to say, constantly keep your eyes out, right? Who's the voice that we haven't heard yet in the Teach Better family? Who's the educator that hasn't come and shared their story yet? So I do really love bringing in new family members, and obviously Daily Drop-In's an easy way to do that, so fun.
it reminds me of sort of the availability and purpose of our brainstorm bank, Rae, is that if there are members of our listening or viewing audience or members of the Teach Better family that have a recommendation to share forward, you can certainly reach either Rae or myself on Twitter, or you can use the brainstorm bank or hit up any of the Teach Better family members, and we can bring your great ideas forward. And I can't tell you what a difference that a new perspective made. It made a significant difference. A shift in perspective that I heard with you and Janine on Wednesday made a significant difference to my week, and then it's becoming something that I've been able to share with others in my situation, who are also like me, struggling with so many loose ends and so many balls in the air, and I was able to learn and share that forward too. And so it's tremendously impactful, and I'm really grateful to be part of the value that Daily Drop-In is adding.
So fun, so fun. Well, I want to wish everybody here a phenomenal Friday. It is October 29th. It's going to be the best Friday that you've had so far, even though it might be a little bit more spooky than usual. Brad, thank you so much for joining. I love ending my week with you. I know I tell that to you every single week, but I truly, truly mean it. And I hope that you have a good Friday as well, friend.
I love ending my week with you too, Rae. And like I said, I feel really privileged to be sharing this time with you and to bringing value to the Teach Better family. And I wish you a fantastic weekend. And I hope your weekend is filled with treats, Rae.
Oh, so many treats. Guys, go eat candy. That's a requirement. Yes, please enjoy your last sip of coffee. I'm going to go the next 48 hours not talking to try and get my voice back for Monday. And we wish you all a wonderful, wonderful weekend, Halloween, and everything that you have in store. So thank you so much, friends. We'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.